In the space of just 3 weeks, Peterbot has gone from winning $70,000 in FNCS to placing terribly in Duo Cash Cups and not even qualifying for the final round of FNCS. This has made many people question whether Peterbot has fallen off and if his run of dominance has already come to an end. In today's video, I'm going to cover everything on why Peterbot may already be past his prime. If you do enjoy, please make sure to drop a like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 15,000 subscribers by the end of summer. That is a massive goal of mine. Without further ado, let's get straight on into the video. Okay, so a suitable place to start this video is to talk about Peterbot's greatest achievement so far, obviously this being his prime. Now last season there were 4 Duo Cash Cups on NA Central, and in the Duo Cash Cup finals, Peterbot won every single one of them, even in the final week winning 6 out of 6 games in Duo Cash Cup finals, something that we have never seen done before and may never see happen again. Furthermore, Peterbot also won FNCS on NA Central, again setting the all-time points record with over 1,000 points. This meaning that Peterbot and Poyo alone won every single Duo Cash Cup and FNCS that was on in Chat 5 Season 2. Lastly, Peterbot was also the first player ever to drop a 40 kill plus win in the Solo Victory Cup finals, and that's just scraping the edge of the dominance which we saw from Peterbot last season. Now, with a run of form just like that, it would be pretty much impossible to keep this up for seasons running, but let's start off this season by talking about where Peterbot is landing, because obviously last season we know that he landed at Uncon Grim Gate. Now Grim Gate obviously contained the Grim Gate movement medallion. This was the most overpowered POI on the map due to this medallion. Effectively, you were the only team in the map with movement. I'm sure you guys understand if you played this season. Now this season Peterbot is landing Redline Rig. Here he obviously gets the Machinist Medallion and the Combat AR. Now both of these combined are very good. Obviously the Machinist Medallion helping to replenish shield, very good for trading surge in these high FNCS and Duo Cash Cup final lobbies. Obviously the Combat AR as well, with its insanely fast fire rate, is also very good at laying some damage for Storm Surge. But where has it all been going wrong? Where has Peterbot been placing so far this season, you ask? So let's start off by talking about the Solo Victory Cup. Now bear in mind last season Peterbot dropped a world record 40 kill plus win in the finals. How is he getting on this season? He has participated in 3 Solo Victory Cup tournaments and in 2 of them has failed to qualify for the finals. Bear in mind qualifying to the finals on NA Central is the top 5,000 players. That means last season's FNCS winner has failed to qualify in the top 5,000 on 2 of 3 occasions. The time he did qualify, he did come in 59th in Open, which is very respectable placement, however unfortunately didn't make earnings in the finals. Now we must move on to talking about his placement in Duo Cash Cup so far with Poyo. In the first Duo Cash Cup of the season, things look promising. They got a 4th place in Opens followed by a 4th place in finals, bagging themselves $450 each. Obviously it isn't the 4 Duo Cash Cup final wins in a row that we saw last season, but a 4th in this meta is certainly respectable. However, I'm sad to say that is Peterbot's best placement so far this season, as things get much worse. On June the 12th we saw the 2nd Duo Cash Cup. Now this time Peterbot and Poyo, who bear in mind won $70,000 for coming first in FNCS last season, come in 3,456th in the 2nd Duo Cash Cup of the season. Absolutely insane, and many people are questioning already, is Peterbot washed as a result of this placement, or is it due to the bad meta? Thirdly, in the last Duo Cash Cup, which has most recently been played, Peterbot and Poyo come 158th, again failing to make that final. So just like the Solo Victory Cup, that means 2 out of the 3 tournaments which he has played, the Duo Cash Cups, he has failed to qualify. Very insane for teams that won FNCS last season. Now many of you may be thinking, okay, but the placements still aren't bad. Well, what I'm going to do for you guys is compare Peterbot to the FNCS champion on EU, which was Swizzy, obviously Swizzy and Vanyak. Now Swizzy already this season has 3 times the earnings of Peterbot and also 4,000 PR and more. Now yes, I'm not silly, I know that there is more earnings up for grabs on EU than NA Central, but 3 times the amount of earnings is certainly crazy at this current point. Now Swizzy and Vanyak so far in the Duo Cash Cups have made both finals and they've come 10th and a 3rd place. Now this is a lot more respectable for Peterbot because we're seeing consistency in their gameplay. Yes, Peterbot did get a 4th, but they also got a 3,500th, which is certainly crazy, whereas Swizzy and Vanyak have made Duo Cash Cup finals both times. Swizzy and Vanyak also made the last round of FNCS in week 1 qualifier and came 12th, a feat which Peterbot and Poyo failed to do over on NA Central, obviously coming 67th in round 3. They failed to come in the top 50, which they needed to reach round number 4. Now what does this mean for Swizzy and Vanyak? It means that due to them coming 12th in the final round, they're likely to, or they're almost guaranteed to be in the upper bracket of semi-finals, whereas Peterbot not making round 4 is in semis already, which is still a solid result. They're guaranteed to be in at least lowers, but they need a strong week 2 here in order to get into round 4. Now let's get into more detail as to whether I think Peterbot has actually fallen off this season, because obviously the placements aren't looking good. Right guys, so now it's time to address whether I think Peterbot has fallen off, and please, if you do disagree with me or even agree with me, feel free to let me know your opinion in the comments down below. Now let's start off by talking about round 3 of FNCS Week 1 Qualifier 1. In half of their games they died off of spawn. Now the reason why I address this is because last season they were obviously uncontested at Grim Gate. Maybe we're looking at a spawn issue here at Redline Rig just because they're so used to being uncontested last season, and maybe they're having a few issues getting the right coordinated strategies to get off spawn in these higher elo lobbies, which we saw obviously in FNCS round 3. Now obviously last season we know that they were helped significantly by the Grim Gate coin, and they don't have the same advantage over the lobby this season, again meaning that the dominance they had last season is much harder to be replicated. Me personally, I don't feel Peterbot has fallen off. I don't think last season's dominance is like easy to replicate, mainly because it was fueled by such an OP medallion, and there is no overpowered item in this season like we had the Grim Gate medallion last season. I don't think Peterbot and Poyo are playing bad. Yes, we are seeing some massive inconsistencies in their placement, which obviously isn't great, but this season is such an unskilled meta and it's much harder to stay consistent. That's why I put so much props to Swizzy and Vanyak for making both Duo Cash Cup finals so far this season. Now in terms of their placements, we are seeing at the moment that obviously the better teams like Peterbot and Poyo are sometimes struggling a little bit more, and again I go back to the point this is an unskilled meta. We can see this because in a lot of the new names that we're seeing in the Duo Cash Cup finals, there's so many new teams that we just don't recognise, or that are a bit more underrated, maybe don't have as much earnings, instead of the tier 1 pros that are making it to the finals, and that's just because people are working out the meta, they're playing to the meta advantage, and let's face it, at the moment the game is in a little bit of a free-for-all state. Now let's address what Peterbot actually does need to do in week 2 of FNCS in order to come back. At the moment, Peterbot obviously we know is already into semi-finals pretty much due to his run in round number 3, obviously in FNCS Qualifier 1. Now what he needs is a strong week 2. If he makes round 4 in strong week 2, in week 2, he will undoubtedly call to uppers in these semi-finals, which is a lot better. He has a much higher chance of making grands, because at the moment nothing is guaranteed. Obviously we've only seen them make 1 of 3 Duo Cash Cup finals. It would be crazy that Peterbot and Poyo don't make grands, but hey, look, nothing is impossible in this meta, that's all I'm saying. And again, we've seen that already, guys, so let's not put it past them not to make grands. However, obviously Peterbot and Poyo, obviously if they don't do well in this second week, they're still going to be in lowers, so we'll definitely looking good from there. But again, it's a bit of a 50-50 at the moment what's going to happen, so we'll see how they perform this second week. They need a strong week 2, hopefully make round 4, get some experience in those set lobbies, obviously with the new FNCS format, and hopefully that can give them a bit of confidence. I am pretty sure they'll make grand finals again, but they are looking a little bit questionable so far this season. But please feel free to share your opinion on this topic down below. Thank you guys for watching, I really do appreciate it. If you could help me get to 15,000 subscribers, that is my dream, so thank you very much everyone who has watched this video until the end and enjoyed. That's been all from me. Thank you guys very much for listening. Peace out.